Hello and welcome back. It's Liam again. Today I'll bring you a real horrific. Beware of what you're about to listen. Please like, share, and subscribe before we start. The rules of the Crimson Ritual. As I sat on a cold iron bench outside my daughter's hospital room, the flickering fluorescent lights buzzed loudly. The memory flooded back to me. I was driving on a quiet road. The radio played a foreign song I did not understand, but its melody was soothing. I glanced at my daughter, Every, in the rearview mirror. She was nodding off by the back window, a small smile on her face. I checked the GPS. Just 15 minutes until we reached home. Suddenly, a truck swerved into our lane, crashing head-on into us. I tried to steer away, but the truck smashed into our car. The windshield shattered. The impact threw me forward, my head slamming into the dashboard. A sharp pain surged through my body. The last thing I saw before passing out was Every's pained cries from the back seat and the red flashing lights of an ambulance. I woke up in a hospital bed. The bright fluorescent lights stung my eyes. The room smelled of disinfectant with a faint hint of vomit. A nurse entered. I immediately asked about Every and her condition. The nurse refused to tell me anything, urging me to rest. I had no choice but to comply, too weak to argue. Later, a doctor visited my room. He reassured me that I had only minor injuries and would be discharged soon. When I asked about Every, his face softened with pity. He looked away and said she was not as lucky as me. She was alive, but they were not sure she would survive. I broke down sobbing too hard to ask for more details. Guilt consumed me. It was all my fault. A gentle touch on my shoulder snapped me back to reality. A nurse looked at me with pity, her expression telling me more than words could. I stood and followed her into the room, knowing what I would face. The sound of a flatline echoed through the air. My daughter was gone, never to return. The next few days passed in a haze. Countless calls came from friends, family, and the funeral service. I had an unavoidable meeting with my ex-wife. None of it mattered. After losing, everything felt empty. After our divorce, Every was my reason to keep going. Without her, my life lost all direction. I stopped caring for myself. Each day, I grew worse. My boss told me to pull myself together or lose my job. I chose to quit and was let go that same day. I moved from my large, cozy apartment to a cheaper one. Depression took over. I could not find work and spent nearly all my savings just to survive. My life became a dull cycle. Wake up, stare at my phone, eat pizza, and sleep. One sleepless night, while browsing the internet aimlessly, I stumbled across a post that caught my eye. The Crimson Ritual rumored to bring the dead back to life. Maybe this could bring Every back, I thought. Then I dismissed the idea. She was gone and no fake internet ritual could change that. Still, I read on for amusement. The post explained the ritual. In the Crimson Ritual, a hidden realm exists between the human world and the spirit world. Few know its origins, but there are strict rules to follow to meet the forest god. This god can grant any wish in exchange for a human sacrifice. Here are the rules. First, the ritual can only be performed in a forest once a month during a full moon. Any other time will fail. Second, you must have a partner unless you are willing to be the sacrifice. Third, find a large enclosed space to draw a triangle on the ground using cow's blood. Using any other blood will fail. Your partner must draw a smaller triangle inside yours. Fourth place, 3 cherished items at the corners of your triangle. Your partner does the same for their triangle. Using meaningless items may curse you later. Fifth, you and your partner must carve a small cross on your chest to prove your commitment. If you skip this, the ritual will fail. Sixth, after carving the cross, you will pass out and wake in the Crimson Forest. If you wake anywhere else, these rules cannot help you. Seventh, stay calm in the forest and avoid touching trees for too long. Eighth, head to a cabin in the forest's center. You will know the way even if you have never been there. Ninth, the forest's residents, the trees, may try to stop you. Bring something sharp to fight them off. The items you and your partner brought can also be used against them. 10th, at the cabin, the forest god will demand a sacrifice. Offer it to state your wish, and the god will return you to the real world with your wish granted beside you. My hopes surged when I read the final line. It said, "Messy, we know you. How did this website know my name?" Anger mixed with curiosity. I searched for more information, but found nothing. The post had vanished like a shadow in the night. Every trace of the ritual was gone. Still, I decided to try it. If it failed, I had nothing to lose. The only problem was finding a partner. After some thought, I knew the perfect person. I called Jerry, my old school friend. I told him it would be like old times. He smiled, trusting me. I gathered supplies, including a bottle of cow's blood, and began drawing a triangle on the floor. Jerry drew a smaller one inside mine. I placed 3 items, a photo of Every as a newborn, a childhood toy I treasured, and my wedding ring. Jerry placed his items, but I barely noticed them. Is that it? He asked, eyes on the messy floor. Not yet, I said. We need to carve a cross on our chests. He hesitated. I don't want to bleed, I reassured him. It doesn't need to be deep, just visible. I took a small knife and carved a cross on my chest. Jerry followed reluctantly. Instantly, dizziness hit me. Nausea surged and I collapsed to my knees. A sharp pain spread through my body. Everything went black. When I woke, the ground beneath me had changed. Instead of my apartment's floor, I stood on soft brown grass like human hair. I saw Jerry lying nearby. I shook him awake. He staggered up, looked around and shouted. Where are we? I replied. This is the Crimson Forest. Follow me and you'll be fine. I pulled my knife from my pocket and moved deeper into the forest. The trees were strange. Some were pale pink, others brown like human skin. Looking up, I noticed they had no leaves. Their branches ended in 5 smaller twigs like human fingers. I glanced back and saw Jerry caught by a branch. As I moved to help, I froze. The branch was a severed human arm. Panic hit me. The trees were not wood, but flesh, their branches made of human limbs. I dropped to my knees, vomiting my breakfast. A primal fear gripped me. Something ancient and cruel lurked here. I did not want to stay and find out what. I helped Jerry up, his face pale with shock. We ran as the forest seemed to close in. Navigating grew harder. A hand reached for me. Before I could react, it grabbed my head, squeezing tightly. Panicking, I fumbled in my pocket. My fingers found my wedding ring used in the ritual. How could this help, I thought, as the hand tightened. Then I remembered the rules. The ritual items could fight the trees. I threw the ring into the air. Time slowed. The ring glowed brighter with each spin. The hand gripping me froze and released me. I hit the ground hard. The ring fell beside me, its glow fading. We ran faster. I saw smoke rising in the distance. It must be the cabin, I thought, sprinting with desperate hope. The cabin appeared old and dusty. Its wooden walls were rotting, the air thick with mold. Jerry and I nearly broke the door rushing in. We stopped, catching our breath, preparing for what waited inside. A man sat in a chair by a fireplace. Can you help us? Jerry asked, stepping forward cautiously. The man turned as if waking from a trance. He stood and faced us. Jerry screamed and fell. I stood frozen, staring at the horrific figure. He wore a ranger's uniform with a gun at his hip, the only normal parts of him. His body was grotesque. His knees bent in wrong places. Where his face should be writhing, tentacles sprouted. His skin sagged, supported by jagged bones poking out like fleshy wings. His legs bent like a wolf's. I could not describe him fully. No imagination could capture his horror. He spoke, his voice grating. Not talkative today. No matter, I only need the sacrifice. He looked at Jerry hungrily. The forest needs a new tree. Jerry turned to me, terrified. You said I wasn't the sacrifice. I stayed silent. Of course it's you, the god said, relishing Jerry's fear. Your friend agreed to bring you. My vision blurred. Darkness swallowed me as Jerry's final scream echoed. I woke in my bedroom, soaked in sweat. A message glowed on my laptop from an unknown number. It read, Rule 10. All who perform the ritual cannot go to heaven or hell. They are cursed to return to the Crimson Forest after death. I stared in horror, unable to process it. Then my bedroom door opened. Every walked in. All fear vanished as I hugged her tightly, afraid she would disappear. She stood still, unresponsive. Days later, I packed my things, ready to move to a friend's home. I knew people would question Every's return and Jerry's disappearance. The police asked about Jerry, but I played the concerned friend, saying I knew nothing and asking for updates. I changed my and Every's names and left town the next week, hoping for a brighter future. As I drove, I glanced at Every in the back seat. She stared at me, her eyes cold and unblinking. She had been like this since returning. I could not shake this feeling that I was partly to blame. Life improved with Every back, but I often wondered if my choice was right. Today's story showed a loyal friend, unlike our last tale, if it sees you don't move. This time we saw Jerry Messie's friend since middle school. Jerry sacrificed himself without hesitation. The lesson is clear. Every returned, but she is not the daughter Messie knew. She seems to lack memories, or worse, might be a demon watching his every move. If it were me, no wish would be worth this ritual. I fear blood and would never sacrifice anyone for my desires. If the 10th rule had been clear from the start, maybe Messie would not have acted. At the end, he seems to regret his choice. What do you think? Would you become a tree in the Crimson Forest for a wish? Comment below and share your thoughts. If you have theories about the forest, God let me know. That's all for today. Goodbye and see you in the next story.
Thanks for watching this video. If you like this video, drop a comment below. And please like, share and subscribe my channel.